I had never been there.
North Hollywood.
No. Yeah.
I don't think a lot of us had ever been there.
We had no clue. I had a friend who invited...
Few shows have left as lasting a mark on American pop culture as the Brady Bunch. Behind its cheerful facades, however, lie decades of secrets most fans never noticed. Today, we're diving into 20 weird facts about the show you probably didn't know.
Well, the character was fun because there were 9 regulars on that show. You didn't have too much time to sit around and discuss.
Despite being cast as siblings, several of the Brady kids were far older or younger than they appeared on screen. For instance, Barry Williams, who played Greg, was 16 when the show began, yet portrayed a 15-year-old navigating high school life. Meanwhile, Susan Olsen, who played Cindy, was only 6, making her younger than the character's supposed 8 years. The casting decisions were not just about age. The producers wanted a balance of talent and chemistry. Interestingly, the wide age gap sometimes caused filming challenges, especially in scenes requiring all the kids to interact naturally. In interviews years later, the actors admitted that it was strange pretending to be siblings with people who were actually closer to their parents' age in real life. This was a conscious choice to make the Brady family more visually appealing on screen while maintaining a believable family dynamic. The magic of television makeup, wardrobe, and clever camera angles helped hide these discrepancies, ensuring audiences remained immersed in the Brady world. Alice, the iconic housekeeper played by Ann B. Davis, almost didn't join the Brady family. She reportedly auditioned under a pseudonym to avoid being typecast from her previous comedic roles. Producers were initially hesitant to hire her because they feared her charm might overshadow the children. However, Davis brought a warmth and comedic timing that quickly won over the cast and crew. Her improvisations were often kept in the final episodes, adding a spontaneous and authentic feel to the series. Behind the scenes, Alice had a secret. She frequently advised the younger actors, helping them navigate the pressures of sudden fame and tight filming schedules. This mentorship was never publicly acknowledged, yet it became one of the cornerstones of the show's friendly atmosphere. Fans today often cite Alice as one of the most relatable and enduring characters on television, unaware that her influence extended far beyond what viewers saw on camera.
I'm Eve Plum.
I'm Mike Lookinland.
Hi, I'm Maureen McCormick.
I'm Susan Olsen.
Barry Williams. And I'm Christopher Knight.
We are the...
Most fans know the catchy Brady Bunch theme, but few realize that the original version of the song had additional lyrics that were cut before airing. These lines reportedly included references to each child's personality and minor plot details from early scripts. Producers felt the full lyrics were too long for the opening credits, so they trimmed it to the version we know today. Rare studio recordings suggest that some of these omitted lines were humorous, almost satirical, poking fun at suburban life and family cliches. In the late 90s, one recording resurfaced and circulated among collectors, revealing a slightly different rhythm and more playful tone than the aired version. The changes were subtle, but highlighted how much thought went into crafting a theme that perfectly set the mood for the show's wholesome image. Music historians consider this an early example of meticulous theme song editing in television, long before the era of streaming and online releases.
I had been approached for years and years and years to write a book, and I never ever wanted to write one. And I finally got to a...
While the Brady kids' ages seemed carefully balanced on screen, the real-life age differences among the cast were sometimes confusing even to the crew. Maureen McCormick, who played Marcia, was 13 at the start of filming, but her on-screen persona was supposed to be 14. Meanwhile, Eve Plum, who played Jan, was only 11, yet often appeared older due to wardrobe and hairstyle choices. This led to behind-the-scenes adjustments, such as staggered rehearsal schedules and specially tailored costumes to make the age differences less noticeable. Barry Williams later joked in interviews that sometimes it felt like acting in a time warp, pretending to be a teenager with kids who were almost half his age. Interestingly, these subtle manipulations contributed to the show's polished, harmonious family image, masking the underlying reality that the Brady kids' ages were far from uniform. Fans rarely realized that this invisible juggling act was critical to maintaining believability on screen.
Kind of television that can be best described as comfort food.
Pork chops,
An applesauce.
Since its debut,
Marcia Brady's perfect hair was a defining feature of the show, but it came at a cost. Maureen McCormick revealed that maintaining the glossy, voluminous style required hours of daily attention, including teasing, hairspray, and wigs for certain scenes. The actors often had to sit under hot studio lights, while stylists worked meticulously to achieve the signature look. At times, the hair became a running gag on set. A gust of wind or a stray prop could ruin continuity, forcing multiple takes. This attention to detail reflected the show's overall obsession with the image of the ideal suburban family. While it contributed to Marcia's polished, picture-perfect persona, it also symbolized the pressures young actors faced to maintain a flawless on-screen appearance. Despite the challenges, the hairstyle became an iconic pop culture reference, inspiring countless parodies and Halloween costumes decades later.
Does that character like he does. You know, he has that I don't even know what you call it.
The Brady family's house is arguably as famous as the characters themselves, but the exterior shots were of a real California home, while the interior was entirely a set built on a soundstage. The house's iconic staircase, living room, and kitchen were never in the real home. They were carefully constructed to accommodate cameras and lighting. Designers also placed hidden passages and props strategically to allow the actors to move freely during multi-camera shots. Interestingly, the real house became a tourist attraction decades later, but fans were often disappointed when they realized the interiors didn't match what they remembered from the show. This clever set design allowed the series to maintain a sense of spaciousness and warmth, despite being filmed in tight studio conditions, and contributed to the enduring visual identity of the Brady Bunch world.
That was at 4 in kindergarten. One of my classmates was a little girl named Claudia Graves. Her father is Peter Graves. Peter was current at that time doing a series called Fury, a Western, that I watched.
The twins that almost were in early casting discussions, the producers briefly considered having two of the Brady kids played by twins to simplify filming schedules. This was especially discussed for Cindy and Bobby, who were very young and had demanding shooting requirements. Using twins would have allowed them to double the available working hours while adhering to child labor laws. Ultimately, the producers decided against it, opting for a single child actor in each role. However, this behind-the-scenes planning caused a ripple effect. Directors had to carefully schedule scenes to prevent the youngest actors from becoming overtired. Cindy and Bobby's performances are often praised for being natural and spirited, a testament to the rigorous planning that went into protecting the young actors' energy while still capturing the lively family dynamic. Maureen McCormick and Barry Williams have both noted in interviews that watching the youngest cast members work tirelessly yet maintain authenticity was a source of inspiration, proving that careful behind the scenes, decisions often made the on-screen magic possible. This little-known fact underscores the level of strategy involved in producing a family sitcom, where the youngest cast members were the most challenging to manage.
Does that character like he does. You know, he has that I don't even know what you call it.
Greg Brady wasn't just the oldest son with perfect hair. Barry Williams had several hidden talents that almost influenced storylines on the show. Off-camera, Williams was an accomplished singer, and producers sometimes incorporated his musical skills into episodes without fan knowledge. Early scripts included scenes where Greg would perform more elaborate songs, but network executives worried this would distract from the family-focused storylines. So, most of these moments were cut or heavily edited. In one rare episode, Getting Davy Jones, his singing shines, but Williams' broader musical ability remained mostly hidden to maintain the show's all-kids, all-family image. Additionally, Williams was adept at gymnastics, and directors occasionally allowed him to subtly showcase his athleticism during casual scenes, adding a physicality to Greg's character that audiences rarely recognized. These behind-the-scenes talents contributed to the charisma and likability of Greg Brady, subtly enhancing the show without breaking its wholesome scripted boundaries. Williams has later reflected that, while many fans assumed Greg's charm was entirely scripted, a lot of it came from his natural abilities and energy that made the character feel authentic. Number 12, the Forgotten Pilot episode.
It wasn't
I didn't feel that way. I didn't notice it. It wasn't part of it. You have to remember, Brady Bunch was really not.
Before the Brady Bunch officially aired, the cast filmed a pilot that remains largely unseen by the public. This pilot included scenes and character interactions that were radically different from what eventually appeared on television. For example, Mike Brady's role as a father figure was portrayed as slightly more authoritarian, while Carol Brady's character was softer but less confident than her final version. Some of the jokes were darker or more satirical, and several supporting characters appeared in minor roles that never made it to the regular series. The pilot was ultimately reshot to create the bright, cheerful tone the show is famous for, but small details survived. Fans who have seen leaked clips note that wardrobe and hairstyles were slightly more dated, and the set design was more constrained, lacking the open, airy feel of the series' later soundstage sets. The existence of this pilot demonstrates how carefully the producers crafted the Brady Bunch image. The first attempt was almost too real, and only through multiple revisions did the perfect balance of charm, comedy, and family dynamics emerge. Rare footage of this pilot occasionally surfaces in retrospective documentaries, giving fans a glimpse of what might have been a very different Brady family. Number 11. The controversial casting of Jan Brady.
I'm Eve Plum.
I'm Mike Lookinland.
Hi, I'm Maureen McCormick.
I'm Susan Olson.
Barry Williams. And I'm Christopher Knight. We are the...
Eve Plum's portrayal of Jan Brady as the middle child became iconic, yet behind the scenes, her casting was surprisingly controversial. Producers initially struggled to find an actress who could convincingly portray the awkward middle child, while still appearing charming enough to be relatable. During auditions, Eve was considered too serious by some casting directors, who feared her demeanor wouldn't balance the show's lighthearted tone. What eventually won her the role wasn't just her acting ability, but her subtle emotional range. She could convey jealousy, insecurity, or triumph in a single glance, making Jan a multi-dimensional character in a series that otherwise leaned toward broad comedy. Interestingly, the showrunners intentionally amplified the middle child syndrome in scripts because they recognized Eve's natural talent for portraying nuanced emotional moments. Many iconic Jan moments, like the infamous Marcia scenes, were not fully scripted. Eve's facial expressions, timing, and reactions shaped the comedic and dramatic rhythm of these sequences. Behind the cameras, the dynamic between Eve, Maureen McCormick, Marcia, and Barry Williams, Greg, was carefully managed. Producers encouraged playful rivalry and sibling banter during rehearsals to capture genuine chemistry. But Eve often reported feeling the pressure of being stuck in the middle, mirroring her character's struggles. Adding to the complexity, Eve's age at the time created additional challenges. She was only 11 when filming began, yet many of her storylines dealt with early adolescent issues. This required directors to guide her performance delicately, balancing realism with age-appropriate content. Fans rarely realized that Jan's struggles on screen were sometimes enhanced by Eve's real-life experiences as a young actress navigating the sudden demands of the television fame. Another little-known secret is that Eve's wardrobe and styling were deliberately designed to accentuate Jan's middle child persona. The planners avoided overly fashionable outfits, instead opting for colors and cuts that suggested modesty and innocence. Combined with subtle camera angles and lighting choices, this made Jan visually distinct from her older and younger siblings, reinforcing her position in the family hierarchy without ever needing to state it outright. Ultimately, Eve Plum's casting and performance were a balancing act of talent, age, and production design, resulting in a character who was relatable, memorable, and enduring. The controversy during her audition is a reminder that behind every seemingly perfect TV family, there are countless decisions, compromises, and hidden struggles that shape the final product. Without Eve's unique ability to embody John, one of television's most recognizable middle children might never have existed. Number 10. The secret reason for the family pet.
Does that character like he does. You know, he has that I don't even know what you call it.
While the Brady family's fictional household was meticulously planned, the decision to give them a dog, Tiger, had a surprisingly strategic purpose. The producers initially considered having no pet at all, but test audiences responded positively to scenes involving animals in early pilot screenings. Tigers, as playful and friendly golden retrievers, were believed to soften the family's image, particularly appealing to children and emphasizing the wholesome suburban lifestyle the show wanted to project. However, introducing an animal brought its own set of challenges. Tiger was famously unpredictable on set, requiring multiple handlers, careful scheduling, and frequent breaks. Directors often had to shoot around the dog's moods. Sometimes the animal refused to perform. Other times it became overly energetic, knocking over props or wandering into unintended areas of the set. Ann B. Davis, who played Alice, often found herself improvising dialogue or physical comedy to distract the dog and keep scenes on track. Despite these challenges, the dog's presence added authenticity and warmth to the Brady household. Interestingly, Tiger's role evolved over time. In early scripts, the dog was mostly a background presence, but the cast and crew noticed that interactions with Tiger brought out spontaneous, genuine reactions from the child actors. Producers began incorporating more unscripted moments featuring the dog, which contributed to the show's charm. Fans often remember Tiger fondly, yet few realize the effort it took to manage a real animal, alongside an ensemble of 8 actors. The decision to keep Tiger on screen also had subtle symbolic significance. By giving the family a pet, the producers reinforced traditional family values, responsibility, nurturing, and companionship without overtly preaching. In interviews, several cast members mentioned that scenes with Tiger often became highlights of their day, providing comic relief or unexpected bonding moments. Behind the camera, the dog was more than just a prop. Tiger was a catalyst that enhanced character interactions and brought a sense of realism to the Brady home. East at number 9, The Mystery of the Unseen Father's Office.
I had never been there.
North Holly.
No. Yeah.
I don't think a lot of us had ever been there.
We had no clue. I had a friend who invited.
Mike Brady, the patriarch and architect, was central to the Brady family's wholesome image. Yet, curiously, viewers never truly saw him in his professional environment. While exterior shots of Mike's architecture office were sometimes mentioned in dialogue, the show rarely depicted it on screen. The choice to keep the office largely off camera was intentional, rooted in the showrunner's desire to focus on domestic life rather than the adult world of work. Producers wanted audiences to see Mike primarily as a father, husband, and moral guide, keeping the drama and humor firmly within the home. Behind the scenes, set designers had created a fully functional office set for potential use, complete with drafting tables, blueprints, and period-accurate architectural tools. However, the space was rarely filmed due to time constraints and the logistics of moving cameras between the main house set and a separate office set. Some rare early scripts included scenes showing Mike negotiating contracts or presenting architectural plans, but these were ultimately cut to preserve the show's family-centered pacing. Barry Williams later noted that even though he spent little time on these sets, actors were sometimes asked to rehearse lines there to maintain immersion, emphasizing the show's commitment to authenticity. The unseen office also contributed to a subtle form of storytelling. By never showing Mike at work, the show reinforced the idea that a father's true role was within the family home. This choice added a layer of idealized Americana. The audience knew Mike was productive, responsible, and professional, yet his achievements were never flaunted, allowing viewers to project the perfect father image without distraction. Interestingly, fans who toured the original studio sets in later decades discovered that the office set was far smaller than imagined, illustrating how clever staging and selective camera angles amplified the Brady universe's sense of scale. Even more fascinating is that the office set became a secret playground for cast members during downtime. Eve Plum and Maureen McCormick reportedly used the space for impromptu games, while Barry Williams sometimes practiced lines or physical comedy routines there. Though the office was never a focal point on screen, its presence behind the scenes enhanced the actors' understanding of Mike's life outside the family, subtly influencing their interactions and the show's overall dynamic.
Adult presence on the set and TV parents. Did that ever bleed over and toward
Very
their,
much.
their,
Very
their,
much.
One of the most subtle and rarely discussed secrets of the Brady Bunch involves the dynamics between the older siblings, particularly Marcia's crush on Greg. On screen, Greg is portrayed as the charismatic, confident eldest brother, while Marcia is the popular girl-next-door type. What many fans don't know is that the writers intentionally exaggerated Greg's charm in early scripts to give the middle and youngest aged children aspirational figures to emulate. Barry Williams, who played Greg, has mentioned in interviews that he was encouraged to play Greg larger than life, combining teenage swagger with an idealized sense of morality. Marcia's attraction to her older brother was never romantic in reality. Of course, it was scripted to create tension and humor while reinforcing the traditional family hierarchy, but it was rooted in how the show subtly taught viewers about admiration, jealousy, and sibling dynamics. Behind the cameras, Maureen McCormick, Marcia, admitted that the scripted crush scenes were tricky to film. Directors had to balance Marcia's admiration with innocence to avoid crossing into uncomfortable territory. Maureen noted that the crew often used blocking techniques, careful positioning, camera angles, and even props to ensure the focus remained on humor and teenage awkwardness rather than genuine romantic undertones. These subtle methods allowed the show to explore early adolescent feelings without alienating its family-oriented audience. Interestingly, Greg's perfection was partially a calculated design. Writers and producers wanted him to be someone the audience would admire yet never resent. This amplified the humor when Greg inevitably got into minor trouble or was embarrassed by his siblings, creating a tension that became a recurring comedic element. Viewers at the time may not have realized that these dynamics were carefully crafted, but modern analyses suggest that these subtle character interactions contributed significantly to the show's enduring popularity. Finally, the chemistry between Marcia and Greg was enhanced by unscripted moments. Barry and Maureen often improvised lighthearted teasing and sibling rivalry, which made the on-screen admiration feel authentic without ever breaching appropriate boundaries. This combination of scripting and improvisation ensured that Marcia's crush on Greg remained relatable, humorous, and entirely within the family-friendly framework.
Redhead. Why red? I don't know, but that's what I wanted. And a virginal-looking girl and a clean-cut, nice perfection.
Arguably one of the most famous lines in television history, Marcia, Marcha, Marchaya, nearly didn't make it to air. While the moment is now synonymous with middle child frustration and pop culture at large, the scene was originally viewed by producers as a potential overreaction. Eve Plum, who played Jan, recalls that during rehearsal, she delivered the line with such genuine exasperation that the directors worried it might seem too emotional for the lighthearted tone of the show. However, Sherwood Schwartz, the series creator, insisted that the authenticity captured the essence of sibling rivalry perfectly. Behind the cameras, the filming of this scene was more complex than it appeared. Multiple takes were required because the cast had to synchronize reactions with precise timing, and the camera angles had to capture all three actors, Eve, Maureen McCormick, Marcia, and Barry Williams, Greg, without cutting the flow of dialogue. Eve has mentioned that the line was partially improvised, inspired by real-life fights she had with her older sister, which added a layer of realism. This combination of scripting and authentic emotion turned a small family squabble into one of the most recognizable television moments of the 20th century. Interestingly, network executives were initially hesitant to approve the scene, fearing it would resonate too strongly with children experiencing their own sibling frustrations. Schwartz argued that the moment would engage viewers precisely because it reflected real emotions. Retrospective analyses suggest that this risk was part of the show's broader strategy, blending humor with relatable family drama to maintain a balance between comedy and real-life experiences. The enduring impact of this moment also extended beyond the show. The line has been referenced in movies, music, and other television series, demonstrating how a single unscripted or partially improvised moment can transcend its original context. Fans often assume that the delivery was carefully planned from the start, yet the combination of Eve Plum's timing, genuine frustration, and Schwartz's guidance was largely spontaneous. This secret is a testament to the actor's talent and the production team's ability to recognize and preserve magic when it happened on set.
I had never been there.
North Hollywood.
No. Yeah.
I don't think a lot of us had ever been there.
We had no clue. I had a friend who invited.
Few people realize that the Brady Bunch's costume department played an enormous role in defining each character's personality, often in subtle, almost subliminal ways. Each outfit was meticulously chosen to reinforce a character's role within the family. For example, Marcia's preppy coordinated clothing and perfect hairstyles signaled her popularity and confidence, while Jan's slightly muted wardrobe reflected her middle child status and insecurities. Costume designers were aware that color palettes, patterns, and even fabrics could communicate social cues to audiences without any dialogue. Barry Williams, who played Greg, has revealed that wardrobe choices extended beyond mere appearance. They influenced how actors approached their roles. Wearing a certain jacket or shirt often dictated posture, movement, and even vocal inflections. For younger actors like Susan Olsen, Cindy, and Christopher Knight, Peter, costumes were used to help define their youthful innocence and playful energy. Accessories like Marcia's headbands or Cindy's pigtails became visual shorthand for age, personality, and family position, creating a layered, nuanced visual storytelling that many viewers never consciously noticed. Behind the scenes, wardrobe choices sometimes caused tension. Actors were expected to wear tight-fitting costumes, high heels, or elaborate hairstyles that could be uncomfortable, especially during long shoots under hot studio lights. Yet these design decisions were crucial to maintaining the show's polished, idealized aesthetic. Designers would even tweak outfits mid-scene if a character's clothing didn't convey the intended emotional tone. For instance, slight adjustments to color saturation or fabric texture were used to subtly shift how an audience perceived mood or status in a scene. Perhaps most impressively, wardrobe choices also enhanced continuity and believability across episodes. Characters' visual identities were maintained with precision, helping audiences subconsciously track growth, relationships, and conflicts within the family. Costume and makeup, often overlooked by fans, were essential tools in storytelling, shaping not only appearances, but character perception and audience engagement. Without these careful design decisions, the Brady family's iconic, instantly recognizable look might never have achieved its enduring cultural impact. Number 5. The secret science behind the kitchen.
I don't want to do my job right now. I just want to hang out with you guys.
Let's just hang. Why don't you make us those drinks that you were talking about?
The Brady kitchen, with its iconic diamond-patterned wallpaper and meticulously arranged appliances, wasn't just designed for aesthetic appeal, it was engineered to optimize filming. Production designers carefully planned the layout so multiple cameras could capture different angles without revealing the crew or lighting equipment. Every countertop, cabinet, and decorative object was positioned to enhance depth and perspective, making the space appear larger than it really was. Interestingly, props were often doubled or swapped depending on the scene. For example, plates and cups were strategically placed to allow seamless continuity between takes. Ann B. Davis noted in interviews that Alice's movements through the kitchen were choreographed like a dance, ensuring she could interact naturally with the children while keeping the set visually dynamic. The kitchen became one of the most memorable parts of the Brady home. Yet, viewers rarely realized it was a highly calculated, almost cinematic workspace behind the cheerful suburban facade. Number 4. The hidden musical talent of the kids.
School, I've been made editor of the school newspaper.
That's fine, honey.
That's great.
Several Brady children had musical abilities that were rarely showcased. Maureen McCormick, Marcia, and Eve Plum, Jan, were both trained singers, and Christopher Knight, Peter, had a surprising aptitude for percussion instruments. Early scripts included more musical numbers, but producers limited their appearances to avoid overshadowing the family-focused storylines. One rare exception was the Getting Davy Jones episode, where Barry Williams, Greg, performed vocals alongside scripted choreography, delighting fans while offering a rare glimpse of his broader talent. These hidden musical skills contributed to the cast's natural on-screen chemistry, even when songs were cut or reduced. Directors would sometimes let the children sing or play instruments off camera to relax them before takes, subtly influencing the energy and timing of scenes. This behind-the-scenes layering of musical talent helped create a more authentic, lively Brady household, even if audiences never realized it. Number 3. The show's subtle social commentary.
Don't want to do my job right now. I just want to hang out with you guys.
Let's just hang. Why don't you make us those drinks that you were talking about?
While the Brady Bunch is remembered for its humor and wholesome family values, many episodes included subtle commentary on social issues of the late 1960s and early 1970s. Topics like blended families, gender roles, sibling rivalry, and adolescent insecurities were explored gently, often hidden beneath the lighthearted dialogue and colorful sets. Sherwood Schwartz intentionally infused scripts with lessons about tolerance, understanding, and compromise, believing that humor was a more effective teaching tool than lectures. This layered approach allowed the show to remain entertaining while addressing real-life concerns, contributing to its lasting relevance. Viewers at the time may not have noticed these subtleties, but modern critics argue that the series was surprisingly progressive for its era, using comedy as a vehicle for social education without ever feeling preachy. Number 2, the unspoken rivalries.
Does that character like he does. You know, he has that I don't even know what you call it.
Behind the camera, there were minor rivalries and tension among cast members, which the crew cleverly turned epitaphs on-screen chemistry. For example, Maureen McCormick and Eve Plum sometimes clashed over dialogue delivery or comedic timing, mirroring their characters' occasional sibling disputes. Rather than trying to eliminate this tension, producers embraced it, subtly weaving it into performances to enhance realism. Similarly, older cast members like Barry Williams occasionally competed with each other for scene prominence, particularly in musical or comedic moments. These unspoken rivalries added authenticity to the Brady family dynamic, giving the show a natural rhythm and energy that kept audiences engaged without ever feeling scripted. Number 1. The legacy of the Brady Bunch. The final secret is perhaps the most enduring. The Brady Bunch's influence extends far beyond its original run. Its combination of wholesome storytelling, relatable characters, and innovative production techniques shaped generations of television creators. From parodies to spin-offs to pop culture references, the show's impact is impossible to overstate. Yet the true secret lies in the meticulous planning, improvisation, and dedication of the cast and crew behind the scenes, small decisions, subtle choices, and moments of magic that never made the credits but created a cultural phenomenon. The Brady Bunch wasn't just a show about a blended family. It was a masterclass in crafting television that resonates across decades, proving that thoughtful storytelling and attention to detail can make something timeless. From hidden talents to carefully engineered sets, the Brady family was far more than a cheerful television family. They were a product of meticulous planning, improvisation, and creative genius. These 20 secrets reveal the invisible threads that made the show timeless, showing that behind every perfect family moment was a wealth of planning, hidden drama, and genius storytelling. The Brady Bunch wasn't just a show. It was an enduring lesson in the power of television to entertain, teach, and captivate generations.